According to numerous insiders acquainted with the matter, Cleveland Browns quarterback Dylan Gabriel ignited a firestorm during yesterday's media availability, instantly transforming an otherwise routine training camp press session into a national spectacle. The Oklahoma transfer reportedly drew a stunning parallel between himself and seven-time Super Bowl icon Tom Brady, claiming to share a comparable competitive mindset, leadership philosophy, and championship trajectory. Within mere hours, ESPN's Stephen A. Smith delivered a scorching tirade, utterly dismantling the young quarterback's remarks while simultaneously elevating rookie prodigy Shedeur Sanders to near untouchable status. This moment signals something far greater than another sports debate. It marked a seismic shift in Cleveland's quarterback saga. Witnesses say the incident unfolded during a routine post-practice availability. Asked about developmental influences, Gabriel declared, "Growing up, I studied Tom Brady religiously. His pocket poise, pre-snap recognition, and competitive mentality are traits I've worked tirelessly to integrate into my own game." He continued, suggesting Cleveland deserves a championship culture and that he could help lay a foundation similar to what Brady built in New England and Tampa Bay. Team insiders insist these words were not careless bravado, but a deliberate gambit, a calculated attempt to reframe the narrative amid mounting internal pressure. Ownership had made no secret of its preference for Sanders, while coaches were said to favor Gabriel. Public opinion increasingly cast Gabriel as a temporary stand-in, while Sanders was already being heralded as the franchise's future. Gabriel's self-comparison to Brady was, by all accounts, a desperate attempt to reclaim legitimacy. Instead, the backlash proved catastrophically counterproductive. Smith's eruption transcended standard commentary. On First Take, producers had prepared for a conventional quarterback debate. What viewers witnessed instead was described as a controlled nuclear detonation of rhetoric. Smith sat in uncharacteristic silence as the clip played, tension hanging thick in the air. Then came the explosion. What? Did Dylan Gabriel just compare himself to Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.? Have I lost my mind? Am I hallucinating? Media critics describe Smith's delivery as theatrical yet authentic, escalating from measured disbelief into a crescendo of thunderous outrage. His booming cadence, finger-pointing, desk-pounding, and dramatic pauses created instant viral moments. Memes proliferated across platforms, and clips spread like wildfire. His core argument: Brady was a sixth-round pick who became the greatest of all time through relentless discipline and unyielding obsession, while Gabriel has yet to complete a single professional pass. Smith framed Gabriel's words not merely as arrogance, but as delusion, bordering on psychological concern. In contrast, Sanders was portrayed as the model rookie, exhibiting humility, poise, and natural gifts, while quietly constructing a Brady-like foundation through deeds rather than declarations. The broadcast escalated further when Smith implied a deeper conspiracy, a tug-of-war between Cleveland's coaching staff, allegedly backing Gabriel, and ownership, firmly behind Sanders. To Smith, Gabriel's Brady proclamation was not spontaneous. It was the orchestrated message of a faction inside the building attempting to undermine Sanders. From there, Smith shifted into broader social commentary, highlighting the double standards black quarterbacks often face. Sanders, Smith argued, has accomplished infinitely more, showcased elite talent, and yet is met with skepticism. Meanwhile, Gabriel dares compare himself to Brady without facing equivalent scrutiny. The imbalance is glaring. The fallout was immediate and overwhelming. Social media recorded over 3 million mentions in just 4 hours. Athletes, analysts, and Hall of Famers chimed in, with many echoing Smith's disbelief. One legend wrote, "We earned comparisons to Brady through performance, not proclamation. Young quarterbacks must prove themselves before drawing parallels to greatness." Every major sports outlet seized the controversy, flooding airwaves and timelines with commentary. Analysts generally agreed Gabriel's move was a rookie miscalculation, creating undue pressure, sowing potential locker room resentment, and inviting destructive scrutiny. Meanwhile, inside the Browns facility, the front office was reportedly blindsided and horrified, scrambling to contain the crisis. Emergency meetings were convened, captains expressed frustration, and one veteran reportedly fumed. This is exactly the type of circus that winning organizations avoid. Sanders, for his part, embodied composure. He offered no public rebuttal, delivered no gloating remarks.
Rather than fueling individual scandal, my undivided focus remains centered on propelling Cleveland toward victories in whatever capacity the coaching staff deems fitting. Sanders reportedly declared, locking eyes with the assembled media. Personal remarks regarding teammates only serve as distractions from our collective mission. I am privileged to compete alongside a remarkably gifted quarterback room while absorbing wisdom from outstanding coaches. Everything else is nothing more than static, irrelevant to our championship pursuit. The juxtaposition between Gabriel's flamboyant remarks and Sanders' composed reply ignited another wave of discourse across the media landscape. Sanders' poised handling of the controversy, despite being its central figure, showcases precisely what Cleveland envisioned when they invested in him. One prominent NFL analyst observed, "While Gabriel manufactures unnecessary headlines with audacious comparisons, Sanders demonstrates a Brady-esque composure, tuning out external noise and prioritizing team triumph over individual narratives." The irony is unmistakable. The player invoking Brady embodies the opposite of Brady's philosophy, while the one avoiding comparisons exhibits the genuine Brady-like traits of media mastery, team-first perspective, and professional discipline. The reaction from football legends only amplified the divide. Following Smith's broadcast, multiple Hall of Famers reportedly contacted ESPN requesting airtime to dismantle Gabriel's Brady comparison. Their unanimous condemnation heaped added pressure on the third-round quarterback, while simultaneously elevating Sanders through contrast. One legendary defender who had faced Brady in his prime declared on radio, "Gabriel's remark wasn't just foolish, it was insulting. Brady forged his empire through relentless preparation and sustained greatness. To measure an untested rookie against such a legacy is nothing short of disrespect." Possible resolution paths. Gabriel issues a public apology, retracting his statement and reaffirming team priorities. Gabriel doubles down defiantly, fracturing the locker room while further eroding his public reputation. The coaching staff sidelines. Gabriel, extinguishing immediate drama, but tacitly handing Sanders the starting role. None are ideal. The damage is already done. Reputation experts insist Gabriel's only chance of salvaging his Cleveland future lies in a swift, humble retraction. Otherwise, whispers of a trade request grow inevitable. For shrewd observers, Gabriel's words, magnified by Smith's explosive reaction, became a watershed moment. Without official announcement, Sanders was effectively confirmed as Cleveland's future. The controversy revealed fractures within the organization, yet simultaneously forced alignment. Sanders is the cornerstone, Gabriel the expendable. Smith's segment did more than criticize. It transformed perception. His dismantling of Gabriel's comparison was methodical, highlighting the gulf in experience, 7-time champion versus untested rookie. underscoring the chasm in accomplishments. GOAT resume versus uncertain roster status. Contrasting Brady's mastery of media with Gabriel's tone-deaf bravado. Emphasizing Brady's team-first mentality against Gabriel's self-serving posture. Amid this, Smith brilliantly wove Sanders' elevation into the narrative. Sanders doesn't need to compare himself to greatness. His talent and preparation announce it. His leadership inspires belief without boasting. His work ethic mirrors Brady's core virtues. That's the real story, Smith proclaimed, his tone shifting from fiery outrage to reverent admiration. The production itself was a masterpiece. Camera close-ups magnified Smith's disbelief. Audio modulation captured the crescendos, and split-screen graphics contrasting Brady's career against Gabriel's college stats drove the point home. The segment instantly went viral, dominating social media with over 13.5 million interactions within hours. Sources suggest Gabriel's ill-fated comparison was born of desperation. Once considered the presumptive starter, his standing eroded as ownership grew enamored with Sanders' dazzling mini-camp displays. Recognizing his slipping grip, Gabriel gambled on a bold statement to reclaim narrative control. Instead, it spectacularly backfired, confirming critics' doubts about his judgment. The larger picture. This is no longer a mere quarterback competition. It is a referendum on rookie conduct, organizational unity, and the future identity of the Browns. Sanders' quiet poise has made him the people's choice, the locker room's choice, and increasingly the league's choice. Meanwhile, Gabriel has reduced himself to a cautionary tale, a third-round pick who undermined his own candidacy with a single ill-advised comment, inadvertently crowning his fifth-round teammate the franchise savior. The Gabriel Brady-Sanders-Smith saga dominated digital platforms for the entirety of the news cycle. Within mere hours of Smith's segment, data firms estimated over 13.5 million interactions tied specifically to the controversy. Sentiment analysis painted an unmistakable picture. Gabriel's remarks drew approximately 89% negative reaction, while Smith's fiery critique received nearly 74% approval. Most striking of all, Sanders' composed commentary resonated with roughly 92% favorability, signaling overwhelming public endorsement of the rookie quarterback despite his lack of professional snaps. These figures underscore how the firestorm transcended typical sports chatter, evolving into a cultural debate about professional conduct, leadership expectations, and ingrained institutional biases. Beyond the raw numbers, the qualitative discourse was equally telling. Verified athletes from multiple sports weighed in, nearly all backing Smith's stance, even if occasionally questioning his theatrical delivery. Active NFL quarterbacks largely avoided criticism, maintaining their fraternal code of silence, while retired veterans showed no hesitation. One former Super Bowl champion quarterback remarked bluntly, "Comparing yourself to Brady doesn't project confidence. It exposes insecurity searching for validation. True confidence is proven through performance, not proclamations." Coaching staff's reaction inside Cleveland, head coach Kevin Stefanski was reportedly furious at the needless distraction so close to the season opener. Team insiders say he summoned Gabriel into a private meeting immediately after Smith's segment aired, then addressed the entire roster about media discipline. His message was clear: speak less, focus more. A veteran relayed to a local reporter that Stefanski underscored how reckless commentary can fracture chemistry and sow division, without ever naming Gabriel. The warning was unmistakable, and it cast fresh doubt on Gabriel's standing with the very staff that once leaned toward him. Local Cleveland media struck a harsher tone than national outlets. Reporters who had consistently praised Gabriel's professionalism during camp called the comments a shocking departure from his previous team-first messaging. One prominent beat writer explained on radio, "Until now, Gabriel had carried himself with impressive composure. This sounded like a man buckling under pressure. The fallout may have permanently tarnished his credibility while inadvertently strengthening Sanders' grip on the locker room." Organizational Fallout League sources reveal Stefanski originally planned to rotate both quarterbacks situationally, crafting a hybrid approach to maximize strengths. But the Brady debacle obliterated that possibility. As one former executive explained on television, starting Gabriel after this would invite relentless outside scrutiny. The only solution now is Sanders. Ownership's perspective sealed the outcome. Sources describe Jimmy Haslam as secretly pleased, even while the organization outwardly bristled at the embarrassment. Haslam had quietly favored Sanders from the start. This controversy gave him cover to enforce his preference without overtly undermining football operations. Gabriel effectively disqualified himself with a single reckless remark, while Smith's outrage provided the public justification. Locker room dynamic Sanders, meanwhile, has only gained stature. Team insiders report veterans rallying behind him, admiring the maturity with which he handled being the controversy's focal point. A podcast insider revealed what won the vets over is that Sanders never added fuel. He just kept working. That's authenticity, and locker rooms crave authenticity. Gabriel, in contrast, suffered a credibility collapse by violating unwritten cultural norms. Invoking Brady without credentials, he alienated veterans who value humility above bravado. NFL historians noted that Brady in particular is sacrosanct in comparison culture, representing unmatched obsession, sacrifice, and longevity. To align oneself with that legacy as an unproven rookie was viewed not as boldness, but as hubris. Broader implications. This controversy could define careers. For Gabriel, it is a career-altering crossroads. Without a swift, humble retraction, he risks drifting into journeyman obscurity, despite real developmental potential. For Sanders, paradoxically, the uproar may have smoothed his transition, eliminating competition, lowering expectations, and positioning him as the chosen franchise cornerstone. Most profoundly, Smith's segment reframed the national narrative. Sanders now receives credit almost regardless of outcome, while Gabriel faces magnified scrutiny, even if he improves. In today's media ecosystem, perception can eclipse performance. As one sports psychologist noted, Gabriel's comparison may not have been arrogance at all, but anxiety manifesting as overcompensation. Yet intent matters little in the viral age. The Gabriel-Brady comparison and Smith's explosive reaction have become a cautionary tale for the modern NFL. In earlier eras, such a statement might have faded after a local headline. In today's ecosystem of amplification, it metastasized into a defining storyline, reshaping Cleveland's depth chart, locker room dynamics, and perhaps the trajectory of two young careers. Whether this episode becomes a trivial footnote or a defining hallmark of Gabriel's career hinges less on athletic growth and more on perception. Yet Smith's segment also raises pressing questions about ethical proportionality in sports commentary. Media ethicists argue that an established personality, leveraging his vast platform to dismantle a rookie's reputation over a single misstep, borders on exploitative dynamics. As one media ethics professor noted on a podcast, correcting the comparison was warranted, but the ferocity of the response risks disproportionate consequences for a 22-year-old still acclimating to the professional stage. Power imbalance should be weighed when delivering criticism. This controversy extends beyond Cleveland's quarterback room. Communications specialists suggest Gabriel's ordeal will likely be used as a teaching case study at rookie symposiums across the NFL, a cautionary tale on how not to handle media interactions. The lesson is stark. Maintain humility, regardless of personal confidence. Never invoke legends in self-comparison. Keep the spotlight fixed on team success over personal ambition. Ironically, Gabriel's embarrassment may safeguard future rookies, even as it imperils his own trajectory. Questions of biased cultural critics have also asked whether Smith's unusually harsh tone may reflect unconscious bias. Historically, certain quarterbacks have endured disproportionate scrutiny tied less to the infraction and more to identity. As one columnist noted, would a different quarterback making the same remark have drawn the same firestorm? These questions highlight entrenched inequities in sports coverage that cannot be ignored, even when criticism itself has a legitimate basis. The quarterback fraternity. Among Gabriel's peers, the silence has been telling. Sources say NFL starter group chats buzzed with private commentary, yet no active quarterback publicly criticized him, protecting the unwritten code of fraternity loyalty. A team insider explained on a podcast. They all agreed it was poor judgment, but they also know they'd want the same grace if they slipped up. Even Brady himself chose silence. According to those close to him, the 7-time champion deliberately avoided comment, recalling his own rookie missteps in a less punishing media era. Privately, he acknowledged Gabriel's error, but saw no reason to pile on, demonstrating the empathy that helped him build unparalleled locker room trust throughout his career. Competitive ramifications. Baltimore. Cleveland's upcoming opponent reportedly wasted no time leveraging the drama. Sources say the Ravens' defensive staff incorporated blitz packages targeting Gabriel's potential emotional fragility should he see the field. In the NFL's zero-sum ecosystem, even psychological cracks are exploited for competitive advantage. Sports psychologists, however, suggest silver linings. Adversity can fuel resilience, humility, and perspective if approached correctly. Gabriel stands at a professional crossroads. This could either catalyze personal growth or cement destructive patterns. Fan-base division for Cleveland fans, the episode stirs yet another emotional storm. Sentiment analysis shows a split base. Some argue one foolish comment should not erase Gabriel's potential, while others seize on it as the perfect excuse to fast-track Sanders. This division reflects the city's tortured quarterback history, where emotions often outweigh logic after decades of disappointment. Sanders' silent ascent. Sanders himself has remained publicly diplomatic, yet privately amused, recognizing the controversy's windfall. Sources close to him suggest he understands the dynamic. The situation effectively guarantees him the starting role, while lowering expectations under the cloak of rookie development. Success will be praised as brilliance, struggles dismissed as growing pains. This demonstrates a keen political awareness, another reason veterans respect his navigation of the storm. Broader implications. Thank you guys, see you next video.